Hello and welcome to ATN World News. I'm Leah, and it's great to be with you, the viewers all around the world. Today, I'm thrilled to be with Phil Crosby. Now, Phil Crosby is the grandson of Bing Crosby, very famous Hollywood singer and movie actor. So, with that, I'll say, how you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm hanging in there. It's great to be talking with you this afternoon. And I mean, what a Hollywood legacy is your grandfather. I mean, legendary singer and legendary movie actor, played in so many movies like with Bob Hope, Road to Everywhere, Road to Singapore, Road to Here. I mean, my goodness, this man
And,
was well known. Do you have a
and an
story to
Academy.
tell us?
Yeah, he was also Academy Award winner. He won the Best Actor for Going My Way and was nominated again for Bells of St. Mary. He was the biggest box office attraction for the same. He was also the biggest radio star and recording artist, all for a decade or so. The biggest, and of course, White Christmas was the biggest selling single of all time. Might still be. It's debatable, I suppose. It's an incredible legacy. He was an incredible man. I just recently went up to Spokane, Washington, where he grew up, and I visited his family home, which has been turned into a museum by the Gonzaga University, where he was attended. And it's like taking a trip back in time. And I've met all these people that knew him and grew up with him, and I met local historians that specialized on his early life. And yeah, it's been really a great experience, getting to know my grandfather posthumously through his career and his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, mostly everybody knows the name Bing Crosby. I think even the younger generation, because, like you said, he was like the best in everything. And so, what a rich heritage you are coming from. And he was well known as being one of the crooners. They need to bring back crooners today, people. People who sang those beautiful love songs and all. And speaking of crooners, you are one yourself, Phil. Well, tell us a little bit
Yes,
about that.
I'm a Crosby crooner. I'm called on Instagram. Well, I started singing late in life. I was already out of high school when some friends said, you're a Crosby, you should be able to sing. Why don't you sing for us? I was shy as a kid, so it never, even though inside I had fantasies probably of singing rock and roll. And that's what we did. I did for a little while, and uh, you know, picked up guitar, sang a little bit in a choir and a stage show in college. But it wasn't until I was about 29, 30 that I thought, well, maybe I'll try this music that my grandfather did. And at the very least, I thought, well, it might be, help me get work and be a real functioning professional musician. I wasn't really thinking I'm going to be a big famous pop star or anything, because I wasn't even going to be doing pop. But I thought I worked with jazz musicians, and that would be a real kick. These are highly educated, intelligent men and women, talented, some of the most talented musicians in the world. And but I wasn't sure, whether I would really take to it or not. And I found, because I grew up listening to a little bit of my grandfather's music and watching his films, but I wasn't really fully exposed to his early career and his more jazzy work. So I basically quickly fell in love with both uh, him as a singer. As the deeper I've gone, the more I've learned about singing, the more I've come to respect what a master he was at it, as well as the genre, the Great American Songbook. And it's called that for a good reason. It's respected internationally. Jazz music is respected internationally. No jazz musician ever would ever say that America doesn't have its own culture, because they know it doesn't matter what part of the world. And anybody who's been around, has some wisdom and music sense, knows that they love jazz. So it is our culture and our heritage, all of us, not just mine.
How about that? Yeah, I mean, I was just looking through YouTube, or something flashed saying, "Hey, watch this," and I saw that there was a busker that was saying, "Hey, sing with me," and Phil just happened to be there, and got to hear him sing. He was very optimistic, trying to be positive with the audience. He said, you said, like, as a performer, you have to encourage yourself and try and be up. And he says, but isn't that so with everybody and what's going on in the world today? And
Yeah.
what I thought was cool that you said was that you do some busking yourself. And I said, wow, when does an artist like him ever keep in touch with the people, and do busking? It's usually unknown artists and artists certainly that don't come from famous families. But I thought that was really pretty cool that you like to do that one on one.
Well, I love performing live. So if there's, if I don't have a gig, if there's not a club or a private event or something that I'm needed at, then yeah, I'll perform for anyone. I just I do like, and I don't do a lot of busking often anymore, but over the years I've done it. One I love to travel, so it was fun while I was traveling around and doing my own little. I never rode hopped freight trains, but I did my own little hobo kind of thing, traveling around the country and making money a little bit here and there. But yeah, I honestly I want to be able to do something and then just keep on performing. Like recording is sometimes a difficult process for me because you have to go over and over and over try to make something perfect. Live music, you just put it out there, and at the end of the night, you pack up and you go home, and there's tomorrow.
Yeah, there always is. And I totally related being in the media industry about encouraging yourself here, and
Oh,
I really like some of the things that Phil mentioned about his grandfather, Bing Crosby. Like the artist, like you said, as you grew older, you learned to appreciate how much it actually took to do that kind of singing and that
yeah.
kind of work. You want to tell us an example?
Well, like I mentioned, I was a rock and roll kind of guy, and I didn't really listen, grow up like a lot of the previous generation did with my grandfather and Perry Como and Frank in their ears and on the radio all the time. And it's a different approach vocally, like the blues rock's based in the blues, and it's more of a I call a wail and moan kind of bass rather than like a whole open, toned singing, which really more comes from the Broadway stage, and which again comes from other classical music and opera. But yeah, so it was a kind of a calibration I had to take. But honestly, on that journey, I realized, there are just people that are virtuosos, and Bing was a virtuoso vocally. He had some instruction as a young man in school and church, and then he, as a young man, music in the 1920s had become a very important thing in America, and so there was immediately an opportunity for him to sing with us. But he was, from what I heard, he was always whistling and singing. So, and his family was musical, so a lot of that gives you a nice head start. But really, singing is a very emotional, personal thing. And a lot of us grow up, people tell us, oh, God, don't do that when we're kids. Like, shush. We get shushed, or some kid says we don't know how to sing. And it affects us and affects and a lot of that you have to come get by. And so there's become this long, drawn out process for a lot of singers to study and learn and unlearn all these things and doubts and all and whatnot. And so for Bing, to have such a perfect tone in such a relaxed manner and such a, effortless, or at least seemingly effortless delivery. And it was often effortless. I heard stories that he would, now he had a lot of power and wealth, but he could go into a recording session. Now, again, with them, they'll have gathered for a day's work, 20 musicians or more, maybe, to record a song. And he would take one take, and if he didn't like master, like nail it in that first take, he'd say, let's try again tomorrow. And he would leave and go to the golf course. Probably wanted more time on the golf course, but and then everybody, they all got paid anyway. So they all, okay, Bing, So yeah, it's pretty amazing for me to have tried to even come close to anything like that was a big education in what it means to be a singer.
Oh yeah, I know, and like you said, I totally agree with it. As you get older, you do realize, you know, a lot more and how much things take. Well, people, we're gonna have a treat pretty soon here. Now, I want to let my listeners know that I have switched from Skype to Zoom because Skype doesn't record with the new MI chip in the Macintosh Mac products. So I had to switch to Zoom, and I don't know how well Zoom picks up instruments. It Zoom's a little bit different than Skype.
Right.
But Phil here has brought along his ukulele. And so he doesn't need a backup. I think he's got his ukulele, and he's going to treat us to a little song. Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
Come to me, my melancholy baby, cuddle up and don't be blue. All your fears are foolish fancy, baby. You don't hear that I'm in love with you. Every cloud must have a silver lining. Wait until that sun shines through. Smile, my honey dear, while I kiss away each tear, or else I will be melancholy too. Oh, every cloud must have a silver lining. Wait until that sun shines through. Well, smile, my honey dear, while I kiss away each tear, or else I will be melancholy too.
And there you have it, folks. You've got the grandson of Bing Crosby crooning a tune for you there with his ukulele. Listen, he's got a good philosophy on life, to always look on the sunny side. That can help to keep your chin up. And right now, I'm going to ask Phil to tell us where you can locate him online in case you want more, or you want to know where he's going, or you want to invite him to a gig.
Well, of course, I have a website, philcrosbyjr.com. That's PhilCrosbyJr, because my father was Phil, so I'm Phil Jr. On Instagram, where I post a lot, that's the best way to kind of hear about more up to date. That's Crosby Crooner, one word, Crooner, Crosby Crooner. Facebook, if you search Phil Crosby Jr., you'll find my fan page. Let's see. That's about it. I do have a TikTok. Might be Crosby Crooner as well, but I haven't been on that. Yeah. So my also email me at philcrosbyjr@gmail. For gig opportunities or appearances. I do all kinds of things. I sing with big bands, swing bands. I just did a 1920s orchestra for a film festival. I travel abroad. I work in other countries. I do swing dance festivals, vintage enthusiast gatherings, all kinds of things. Work with different types of jazz bands and solo artists, sing girls, Andrew Sisters, acts, all kinds of stuff.
I tell you what, Phil, I really enjoyed having you on today. It was just peachy keen, man. I really liked it. And I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share with us. And until next time, I'm Leah reminding you that God loves you. Bye.